On Wednesday, pro-Trump rioters breached the Capitol. It's been a big story all week. And now we have a lot of information about what actually happened, what led up to it. And we've also seen videos, and I'm going to show you some more here in a minute, of police officers welcoming in these rioters to the Capitol Police. I'm sorry, into the Capitol building. These are the Capitol Police officers. And so, anyway, I'm going to show you those videos here. But first, I want to give you some context into this and some pretext. Okay, and so we have some experts. Some experts talked to Business Insider, and they talked about how, along with the delayed response, the lack of mass arrests, and the fact that there were videos of people being let in by Capitol Police, that the fact that this could be either tacit support of the attempted Trump coup, or complete support of the Trump coup, and that's of course from law enforcement. Now, like I said, this is speculation, and it's based on what these individuals know about security and how this situation unfolded. And I'll also note that none of these people were willing to speak on the record because of the nature of the subject. So that said, let me show you the videos here, and then we'll go to the three officials that Business Insider spoke to yesterday. So with that,
police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
ACAF, 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 ACAF. Fucking traitors! Fucking traitors! They're gonna lock us in.
You can disagree with it, but respect it. Come on. Give them in hell.
all right, so I would say those videos kind of speak for themselves. I mean, you have officers that are just letting them in, to which, of course, they, vandalized the area, stole things, smashed windows, smeared feces, excrement all over the place. And so now mainstream media and the Capitol Police are like, oh my God, we can't believe that this was such a failure of planning, such a failure of execution in protecting the Capitol. Boy, I can't believe they failed so much. But here's the problem. I don't think it was a failure. I think it was intentional. I think that they absolutely, and you can see it from the videos, and you can see it from people taking selfies with the rioters, that they were absolutely welcome in the Capitol building to do what they've done. And so now, here's where I go to the three experts that agree. So now, this is a French police official who was responsible for public security in key sections of central Paris, as well as two intelligence officials from NATO-aligned countries who directly work with counterterrorism and counterintelligence operations involving the U.S., terrorism, and Russia. So, as you can see from knowledge and credentials and what they actually do, these people actually come from experience, which I think is really relevant here. And so that's important because of the claims that they're making. They said the circumstantial evidence that we have seen available pointed to what would be openly called a coup attempt in any other nation. So now one source is going to set the stage. The defeated president gives a speech to a group of supporters where he tells them that he was robbed of the election, denounces his own administration's members and party as traitors, and tells his supporters to storm the building where the voting is being held. All of that stuff absolutely happened. The supporters, many dressed in military attire and waving revolutionary-style flags, Trump flags, Gadsden flags, Confederate flags, then stormed the building where the federal law enforcement agencies controlled by the current president do not establish a security cordon. And the protesters quickly overwhelmed the last line of defense. The president then makes a public statement to the supporters attacking the Capitol, tells them that he loves them, and doesn't really tell them to stop. Today, I am briefing my government that we believe with a reasonable level of certainty, this is the official, that Donald Trump attempted a coup that failed when the system did not buckle. So, okay. Look, what this person has said so far, he set the stage perfectly. That's exactly what happened. There's nothing that that he said there that was objectionable or unreasonable at all based on the evidence that we have, based on what we've seen. Okay? So now, we also have a law enforcement official who trains with U.S. forces. So now they believe that somebody had interfered with the proper deployment of officers around Congress. Gee, I wonder who that could have been. So now the French police official said that they believed that an investigation would find that somebody interfered with the deployment of additional federal law enforcement officials on the perimeter of the Capitol complex. This official has direct knowledge of the proper procedures for security at the facility. So now, the security of Congress is entrusted to the U.S. Capitol Police. That is a federal agency that does answer to Congress. Now, it is routine that Capitol Police coordinate with the Federal Secret Service, the Park Police, and the local police in Washington, D.C. before a large demonstration. The National Guard, commanded by the Department of Defense, is often on standby too. On Wednesday, however, the coordination was both late and absent. And now we know why. But okay, so let me just, or we can speculate why. So now let me just give you a juxtaposition here, right? So, okay, the image that I'm going to show you, if it's the right one, is at a Black Lives Matter protest. The ones that are 93% peaceful across the country, involving millions and millions of people all over in different parts of the country. So there was a Black Lives Matter march in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol building. Here's what the police presence looked like. Pretty intimidating, right? All right. And then, of course, you've seen what the police presence looked like during the MAGA rally and during the riot that happened at the Capitol on Wednesday. It did not look like that. I think we can figure out why. All right. And so now, what we've seen from another news agency, the Associated Press here, they said that 3 days before the Trump riots, the Pentagon asked the U.S. Capitol Police if it needed help from the National Guard, as they had heard that this, something like this was going to happen, that they were fearful that something like this was going to happen because of all the information that we have heard from Trump supporters themselves saying that we plan to do something on January 6th. They said, no, we don't need National Guard. We're fine, totally fine. And on the day of, when this was happening, as they were marching up the Capitol steps, as the mob was going into the building, the Justice Department leaders had reached out to say, okay, we've got some FBI agents. All right, let's go and send some people over. We're ready. We can help you out. The police turned them down both times, according to senior defense officials and two people familiar with the matter. Interesting. So now, I wonder, that's very, very curious, right? So now maybe to be charitable, that they say, well, okay, look, we don't, we don't think it's going to get that bad. We don't need your FBI agents, okay? We don't need National Guard, okay? We don't need anybody like that, okay? All right, well, that would seem to be a bad argument, as there are plenty of warnings of a possible insurrection. Again, they were announcing this all over Parler, on message boards. there was ample warning. Ample warning. And it's important to point out, as I said before, if BLM had been planning this on message boards and in the open, and they tried to do it, well, there would be an army of riot police waiting for them. But what these rioters had was white, right-wing privilege. Talked about this before. And that is the privilege to bust into the Capitol, to smash property. There was looting. Somebody stole Pelosi's mail, who, by the way, now is getting charged for that. In fact, let me go, I don't know if I have the article up here. Yeah, Richard Barnett, the person who actually broke in to Pelosi's office and sat in her chair, this person has been charged with knowingly entering or remaining in a restricted building or grounds without lawful entry, violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds, and theft of public money, property, or records. But they let him right in. They let him right in. Not only that, somebody had stolen a podium. There's that picture going around. Somebody's tried to steal a picture of Tip O'Neill, of all things. But in that attempt, accidentally tased themselves to death. They tased themselves in their own balls to death. I am not kidding. I don't know how that happens, but wow, that is a true story. Okay. So now, here's the thing. Am I saying that that Capitol Police should have shot these people? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that they flagrantly ignored the warnings and did not have adequate security measures to keep people out. That's what I'm saying. Lawmakers were in danger here, okay? They were, at times a few feet away from the mob that was violently trying to smash windows and get through doors to go after these elected officials. There were people that were trying to go after Mike Pence, right-wingers, that were saying we should hang Mike Pence, okay? And so that's pretty serious, all right? This wasn't a protest. It was a riot. It was bad. But again, I'm not saying that we should have shot him. No, what I'm saying is that maybe we should have, I don't know, not shoot peaceful BLM protesters, not shoot these people, not shoot anyone, but actually treat them all the same. Okay? That's all I'm saying. There seems to be an obvious double standard where we over-police black and brown protesters protesting for civil rights and justice, and yet those same people allow right-wing rioters to storm the Capitol. Anyway, so now back to that French security official. Okay? So now, French people know how to riot. Okay, they do it all the time. So this guy is, or individual, has probably dealt with worse riots over in France. So now, this person, here's what they said. You cannot tell me I don't know what they should have done. I can fly to Washington tomorrow and do that job. Probably standing on his head. Just as any police official in Washington can fly to Paris and do mine. These are not subtle principles for managing demonstrations, and they transfer to every situation. This is why we train alongside U.S. federal law enforcement to handle these very matters, and it was obvious that large parts of any successful plan were just ignored. Business Insider also notes that the National Guard, which was deployed heavily to quell the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, did not show up to assist the police until 2 hours after this had started. We've also, again, I've showed you the videos. And so, now we go to the third official, okay? That third official works in counterintelligence. Now, they agreed the situation could only have been seen as a coup attempt and said that the implications might be too huge to immediately fathom. And I think I agree with that. I think we're all in shock. We all can't agree exactly what to call what happened on Wednesday, what exactly to explain it as. But it will have massive repercussions, not just in the United States, but really all over the world, especially when it comes to the United States reputation. Here's what that official said on that. Thank God it didn't work, because I can't imagine how hard it would be to sanction the U.S. financial system. By sanctions, he means the imposition of diplomatic, military, and trade blockages that democratic nations reserve for dictatorships. This is what other countries are thinking about this, okay? They're horrified. Members in other countries, they literally saw the United States dip into authoritarianism. That's what happened on Wednesday. This is really, really huge. Really, really huge. They had to think about sanctioning. How could we sanction the economic powerhouse of the world, the United States? That was something they considered. Okay? And so if we ended up in a right-wing dictatorship, what else could be done? Thankfully, our system didn't quite fall apart, but still, very dire circumstances here, knowing how much white supremacy has really infiltrated our policing. And that cannot be ignored. Again, I have been reporting on this for years, how, and the FBI has come out with its own report saying, hey, guys, the white nationalists are infiltrating our police. We should do something about it. We should root them out. And no administration has done anything about it. Not the Obama administration, not the Trump administration, obviously. And so this is what we have. This is why you had police officers taking selfies with these people. That's why you have police officers casually letting them stroll in and destroy these offices. That's why. So again, this is my opinion, this is my view, but this is not a failure of the police. This is the goal of some of those Capitol Police. And I say some of them, right? I'm not saying all of them. Because again, you had people that were killed. You had a Capitol Police officer that was killed by this mob as well during this insurrection, this coup attempt, okay? But first, I say for a lot of them, the Capitol Police and the mob were one and the same. I've heard reports that I can't necessarily verify, where there are members of this mob that were also off-duty police officers that were flashing their badges in order to get in and trash Congress, along with the rest of them. So for that, I mean, some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. It's as true now as it really ever has been. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.